everybody, and welcome to Autumnly at Home. I'm Autumnly if you are new. Today we are going to water bath can strawberry lemonade concentrate, and my boys have asked me if they could help, so I'm really excited. We'll go ahead and get started with cleaning our strawberries and our lemons. If you have never water bath canned, don't worry at all. Just skip that part and you are welcome to just freeze whatever concentrate we make and what we end up with. I do want to start off with at the strawberry patch. My family and I got to go to a strawberry patch. We went to a family run one first, and I brought home a whole thing of strawberries with the intentions of making strawberry lemonade concentrate, and all of my kids ate all of my strawberries. So this is round two. We went to another strawberry patch called Strawberry Hill, where we were able to get twice as many strawberries this time. That way, if my little ones wanted to eat them, I still had enough to make strawberry lemonade concentrate afterwards. And they also had a blast playing after we gathered the strawberries. Strawberry Hill is also a family-run farm that has been up and running for over 100 years. They are famous for their ice cream as well as all the different produce that is in season. Many people love to come here to just hang out. We like to sit in the rocking chairs and enjoy the strawberries after purchasing them. I finally got around to making our strawberry lemonade concentrate without my kids eating all of my strawberries. Lemons are definitely not a local produce grown in our area, so they are very hard to come by locally. So I got all of these lemons from Aldi, and they were really well priced. They looked beautiful this time of year. And these were pretty huge lemons. Our recipe calls for 4 cups of lemon juice, and you can definitely use store-bought lemon juice. I would strongly recommend using 100% lemon juice if you do buy store-bought. Just know it may affect the freshness of the strawberry lemonade concentrate. It may cause it to not taste quite as fresh, but you can use store-bought. Just again, make sure it's 100% lemon juice. And we are washing the outside of our lemons as well as the strawberries. I wanted to make sure they were nice and clean. And I am so grateful for the fact that both my boys were really excited about this project. They wanted to help, and I am all for them helping. I did not ask them to. They actually came to me asking if they could. And I love it when they ask that because it's so much fun having company in the kitchen doing canning projects. It means that it's quality time I get to spend with them, as well as end up with a healthy product at the end that they can enjoy, and they find pride in getting to participate in this and be able to see the success of how it looks afterwards. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. They didn't stick it out through the end, mainly because I made them go to bed because it was getting kind of late and it was past their bedtime, but they definitely were a huge help during this part. If you're new to canning, this is something that I had to learn, that canning really isn't hard. I think it's more of the unknown that if you've never grown up around canning, it's kind of scary because you just aren't familiar with it. I think the hardest part about canning for me is the produce prep, or the prep work that goes into canning. So the canning itself really isn't that bad, but to prep all of the pieces to go into the food, that tends to be what takes the longest. And it's not hard, it's more busy work, which is why I feel so blessed to have somebody that is wanting and willing to actually do the busy work with me. My oldest son absolutely loves lemons, so he was so excited to be able to do this part. He loves the way they taste. He was very excited about the task of trying to get all the juice out of the lemons. And to be honest, I was waiting for him to tucker out and ask me to take over, and he didn't once. He finished all of those lemons like a champ, and I was so grateful. This whole time we were doing this, these boys were begging me to try lemon juice, and I finally caved.
It's good.
You like it?
Got more.
No. Thank you for helping though. You like it? Yeah. There are kind of 2 components to this strawberry lemonade. One is the actual creating of the strawberry lemonade concentrate, and then the other is how you choose to preserve it. So my way of preserving it today, because we're using lemons, it is a higher acidity level, which allows us to water bath can and allows it to be shelf stable
for a long period of time as long as you have a really good seal and you follow the instructions that are the safety instructions. The other way that you can preserve it, if canning is scary to you or you just have never tried it or you don't feel that you have the right equipment, you can just freeze it. Just go ahead and stick it either in a plastic container or in a jar and you can freeze it. We are using pint size because that allows me to do like a gallon size or 2 liters or so of some sort of liquid to be mixed in. So ultimately what we are doing today is making strawberry lemonade concentrate. So instead of reaching for like a powder that is store-bought, we would be able to reach for this jar off of our shelf and mix it in 2 liters of whatever juice that or water that we choose. At the end, I will show you what we ended up mixing it with and do a taste test. So stick around to the end so you can listen and watch for the taste test, see how my kids liked it, see how I liked it, and whether or not we'll do this recipe again. The ingredients for this recipe is extremely simple. It calls for 6 cups of chopped strawberries, 4 cups of lemon juice, and 6 cups of sugar. That sounds like a lot of sugar, but if you are making things from scratch, you will see how much sugar actually goes into items. If you buy it from the store, you will realize if you actually look at the amount of sugar, usually it's even more than that. So this is a healthier option because on top of that, if you look at the ingredient list, usually there's a lot of things that you can't even pronounce. With this, it's literally lemon juice, strawberries, and sugar. That's it. Once I had these 3 ingredients prepped, which again is what takes the longest is the prep work, but once we got those prepped, I wanted to go ahead and wash my jars. I always wash my jars after using them, but then they end up sitting on a shelf for a long period of time and sometimes collect dust. So I just like to give them a good scrub. We no longer have to sterilize our jars, which I'll kind of explain here in a moment, but I do want to at least make sure that they're clean. I'm using pint size today because that's what the recipe calls for, and that's most likely the amount that I'll be reaching for when I go to reconstitute it and mix it into another liquid to be able to drink it. Now that I have them clean, I am putting them in my water bath canner, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this up and put it on the stove to allow it to start warming up. I want the jars and the liquid and the strawberry lemonade concentrate to all be about the same temperature, which is going to be hot. So my goal for this is not to sterilize them, but just to sit them on the stove, allow them to warm the jars up, let the water warm the jars up. And then when I go to take it off the stove and ladle the hot strawberry lemonade concentrate into the jars and the liquid both will be hot, and that way you don't crack your jars. Again, if you just want to freeze this, you can skip this part. Or if you are wanting to try this, but you do not have this specific water bath canner, that's okay too. You can actually use a pot with a towel at the bottom of it. You just want some sort of barrier between the pot and the jars. That way when they start rattling around, they don't crack. So you could do it that way. Now, again, you do have to have the jars and the lids and the rims and that sort of thing to make sure that you have a proper seal and you follow the appropriate instructions for water bath canning. But if you just want to freeze it, that's fine too. After having my jars on the stove warming up, I go ahead and start pureeing the chopped strawberries. Again, super easy, just prep work of trying to make sure if you have a blender, you could just throw all of this in a blender. Our blender broke about a week or 2 ago, so this was my method of pureeing them. Once I got the strawberry puree nice and liquidy with no huge chunks in it, then it was time to pour my 4 cups of lemon juice into the now pureed 6 cups of strawberry juice and give it a little bit of a stir and add my sugar, which is again 6 cups of sugar. Another thing that's just a little bit extra that I wanted to add, if you do not like strawberry seeds, I know strawberries have a lot of little seeds in them. If you don't like them, you can strain them through like a cheesecloth or a strainer. The only thing is that adds another step, which is one of the reasons why I'm not doing it. And to be fair, they don't bother me. But if that's something that you feel like bothers you, or say you can't have that many seeds for dietary reasons, that's another option. Just kind of keep that in mind before adding your lemon juice and your sugar. Go ahead and strain it through like a cheesecloth or something similar to that. My son came in and asked me in sign language if I had added the lemon juice, and I said yes, the lemon juice is in there. And I asked if he wanted to stir or mix the liquid with all of the lemon juice, the sugar, and the strawberry concentrate. But I was strongly encouraging him and teaching him to keep the mixer below the liquid line. Otherwise, the liquid sprays everywhere, which I have done before. Last time I did this, I ended up spraying the juice everywhere. So again, just trying to explain to him not to make the same mistake I did. And in just a moment, you'll see him push the button. And when he does that, he starts to lift his hands up, and I catch him and push him back down just to remind him again, please don't lift it up, because otherwise it will go everywhere. Once our 3 ingredients are mixed together, and you don't have to use this hand mixer, you could just use a spoon to do that part, but ultimately just give them kind of a little bit of a stir, put them on the stove, and you do not want it to come to a boil. You just want it to come to a simmer, which is about 190 degrees.
You may hear my dog playing in the background, but I thought while we're waiting for this to come up to a simmer and that to come up to also a simmer, not a boil, because we don't want it to boil, but while we're waiting for those to come up to a simmer, I thought I would go ahead and go over the tools that we're going to use. So you want a clean dish rag, which I have right here, and it's one we've used for other canning projects in the past, so it's already kind of stained. Especially I've learned working with strawberries, you know, it's going to stain, unfortunately. So maybe just use one that's clean, but not your favorite. So we'll go ahead and have that one here. We also have our ball canning lids, which we are going to use. Both of ours are just normal mouth. They're not wide mouth for this one because we're doing pint size. And that makes a difference. The pint size versus quart size makes a difference on how long your water bath canning time is. And so with the pint size, I'll explain the headspace, how long we want a water bath can, that sort of thing. But I use a funnel because it makes it a lot easier to ladle liquid without making as big of a mess. I still do make a mess, but not as big of one. So we have that one right there. And then this is our headspace measuring tool. And you can see like the little stair steps right here and kind of see the numbers right there. That will tell you how much headspace you have between your liquid and the top of the jar. For this particular one, strawberry lemonade concentrate, we want 1/4 inch headspace. This right here is 1/4 inch headspace right there. It's that one right there. I also have my jar tongs, which help us to pick up the jars without burning ourselves. These are very handy. So I'd strongly recommend this one as well. The only other things that we have are our rims right here, and I would recommend inspecting all of your rims. Make sure there's no rust or dings or dents or anything like that, because I would hate for us to do all of this work and then a dent cause us to not be able to have a good seal. So I'm gonna go through, I did 8 pint jars because the recipe says it should make 7. I like to wash one more just in case there's extra. We can go ahead and water bath can that as well. But for now, I'm gonna go through and try to inspect all of my rims. It used to be that you had to sterilize your jars for about 10 minutes, but as long as your processing time for water bath canning is at least 10 minutes, you no longer have to do that. And I will put the link for that down below in the description. That way you can do your own research. I'm still learning as well, so if you notice that there's anything that I can be doing better, definitely put it down in the comments below. We are all encouraging each other here and learning from each other. So those of you out there that are doing this and have been doing it for a long time, I would love to learn from you as well.
This is what the strawberry puree and lemon juice mixture looks like after being on the stove for a few minutes. You'll start seeing like a white frothy look at the top. You can skim that off the top if you'd like and then just discard it. There's not really anything that I've learned to do with it, but if you have something, definitely put it in the comments below. But you can skim it off, or you don't have to. To be honest, I was kind of bored standing here, just waiting for everything to come to a simmer. So I went ahead and started skimming off some of it, but I didn't finish, and Really, the only thing is it doesn't change the taste, it just changes the appearance in the jar. Once the jars are finished, you'll start seeing a little bit of a frothy foam layer at the top. But again, completely harmless and normal. Once I realized my liquid, the concentrate, was almost ready, I went ahead and pulled my jars off the stove, started emptying the water back into the can, and then put that water bath canner back on the stove so that the water could stay warm. And then I brought my juice over. You want your lemonade concentrate to get to about 190 degrees. Once you have it to 190 degrees, go ahead and take it off, and you just don't want it to boil. So once you have your jars ready, your liquid is ready, it is time to put the liquid in the jars. Keeping in mind that 1/4 inch headspace between the liquid and the very top of the jar. I love canning because it's one of those things, especially when you get to this point of the canning process, that you can kind of do mindlessly. You have prepped your stuff, you've prepped the food, you've prepped the jars. Now you're just putting it all together and getting it on the stove. Preserving food didn't always come this easy to me. In water bath canning is definitely an easier option for food preservation than pressure canning. With water bath canning, you can use water bath canning with high acidity level foods. So, a lot of times, like your pickled items or tomato based items that are primarily tomato based, you just have to follow the recipe that's given so that you know whether you need to water bath can or pressure can. Pressure canning is not as easy as water bath canning because you have to kind of stand there and babysit the pressure canner to make sure that it stays at the correct pressure. With water bath canning, once you fill the jars, stick them in the thing, you literally don't have to do anything. You can go about your day doing other stuff like washing dishes, cleaning up the kitchen, and the water bath canner kind of just does its own thing. You just wait for it to start boiling and having a rolling boil, and then you set your timer. That's it. So, water bath canning, if you have never pressure canned, water bath canned, you're new to canning, I would recommend going with water bath canning first. Applesauce, this one also was super simple. Applesauce is simple. Apple butter is very simple because it's similar to applesauce. But those are all options to try when you are first starting out. Just doing a water bath canning option if you're wanting to learn to can, that is definitely a good option to try. And with pressure canning, that's something that I would kind of recommend once you've gotten familiar with all of the terminology like headspace and all the different things. But it didn't come easy to me in the beginning just because I never grew up around canning. It was something that I started learning a few years ago, and it's a skill that I'm continuing to grow. And just want to encourage you guys, if you have never canned before, this is new to you, it's scary, just know that you can learn from scratch. I've learned from the beginning. I didn't grow up doing this. This is all, the terminology was all new. And the idea of, botulism can be scary as well. But once you get into it, you realize how simple it is. And once you actually follow, as long as you're following the instructions in the guide and in the recipe book, you will be just fine. You also may be asking yourself, why go through all of this work when you could just go to the store and buy it off the shelf? I love the idea of growing my own food, and in this season of life, while I'm living in the suburbs, I am growing some things, but one day I would love to have a big strawberry patch and grow my own. And I want to know how to preserve it, which ways we like to preserve it, and like the taste of it. We already have a bunch of strawberry jam on our shelf that we did in the past 2 years that I'm still working through, so we didn't need any more strawberry jam. So I thought I would try something new that my kids might enjoy, and I'm so glad I tried this one, and you will see why at the end. I ended up with 6 pint jars instead of 7, but that worked out great. The amount was actually perfect for 6 pint jars. Now I did my white vinegar. I poured a little bit of white vinegar in the bowl and I dipped a clean wash towel or paper towel, in this case is what I'm using. You can use a dish rag too, just as long as it's clean and dipped in the white vinegar. My goal for this is to wipe the rims off of the jars to get any grease from my fingers off of it, any sugar, anything like that. I ended up not having a whole lot on there, but you want to try to get as much off as you can so that you get a really solid seal and that the sugar doesn't cause your seal to pop later on or too soon before you can actually enjoy it. Once you wipe the rims of the jars with the white vinegar, you can go ahead and put your lids on the jars. Do your best not to touch the little rubber part around the seal. That way you don't get your finger oils on there. It's not a big deal. If you do, you can still use it, but it will allow you to, again, decrease the risk of your jars not sealing. So I just do my best not to touch it. And I go ahead and put the jar lids on, and then I get my rims and I put the rims on finger tight. And what that means is you screw the lid on and then you just do it a little bit more until you meet resistance and then a little past meeting resistance. Now you have the hot liquid in the hot jars, and you can see that the jars are pretty hot because I have a hard time holding them for a long period of time. But then we are ready to bring our pot back over off the stove that has the simmering water in it. So everything should be at least warm, if not hot. And that way everything's about the same temperature so you don't run the risk of your jars cracking. So now I'm putting my jars back into the hot water and we are ready to put them on the stove. And this is the part that I was telling you is just so simple. Once we've gotten to this part, it's all been prep work up until now. Once you get them on the stove, you literally don't have to do anything. You just let them sit there until the water comes up to a boil. You want to see a rolling boil. And what that means is the water doesn't decrease. If you were to stir the water, it continues to boil. And you want to also make sure you have at least an inch of water above the jars. That way, and you'll see here, one of the ways that I check, because you don't want to stick your finger in there to check, I take the end of the headspace measuring tool and just stick it in and see how far it goes down, because you can usually kind of tell where the water line is, and that way I know if there's at least an inch above the jars of water. Once you do that, put the lid on, let it sit, come to a rolling boil, and if you were to stir the water, the boil doesn't go away. That's a rolling boil, and you can set your timer for strawberry lemonade concentrate for pint-sized jars, because both of those can change depending on, that changes the processing time depending on what you're cooking as well as what size jar you have. This is a 15-minute processing time. So once you get the rolling boil, you set your timer for 15 minutes. I will say try to find something to do in the meantime, because sitting there waiting for your water to boil can take a little while and you can get a little bored and anxious and want it to go a little bit faster. But once it starts boiling, you set it for 15 minutes. Your 15 minutes are up. All you do is take the lid off, turn the stove off, and leave it. Just let it sit there. After at least 5 minutes of just sitting there, I normally let it sit there a little bit longer than that, but at least 5 minutes of sitting there and kind of cooling down a little bit, put a dish rag down or a paper towel, whatever you may have, and take the jars from the canner to the dish rag. The dish rag is to prevent your hot jars from hitting the cold counter and again causing them to possibly crack. But you take them out of the water bath canner, let them sit on the counter. Don't try to take the rims off yet or the rings off yet. Let them just kind of sit there and cool off overnight. Do your best not to tilt them too far, because if they're not fully sealed yet, then it may increase the risk of your lids not sealing to your jar. Once they have sat overnight and allowed to fully cool to room temperature, then you can take your rings or rims off of your jars and label them. Maybe give them a little bit of a soapy wash because they should be completely sealed now, but you don't want to leave your rings on because that can cause you to have a false seal later on in your pantry. And a false seal is where your lid came unsealed, and because your rings are tightened down onto it, it causes them to reseal after already having mold. Y'all, we are about to do the taste test, and I have to say, this has been one of my favorite things that we have canned. My kids absolutely loved this one. They kept reaching for it, and we're so excited about it. It did require a lot of prep work, mainly because of the lemons. The strawberries really weren't too bad. Once you chopped them up, that wasn't too bad, but the lemons took a little while to squeeze. But I would say it was worth it in the fact that they absolutely loved this one. And if we were to be able to grow our own strawberries, then the price would actually be worth it as well. Now, to buy farm fresh strawberries and support our local farmers, it was a little bit pricier than I would like to, that you would typically put towards a lemonade or strawberry. But we enjoyed a bunch of strawberries, and I ended up buying way more strawberries than I needed because it didn't take near as many as we actually bought. And so the kids have been enjoying getting to eat another round of strawberries in our refrigerator. To reconstitute this drink, meaning to get it to the point from in the jar to where you can actually enjoy it and drink it. This is kind of like you were to take a powder that you would buy from the store. You would have to reconstitute it with a liquid. This is the same concept. So we took one jar and 1 2-liter drink of Sprite and went ahead and mixed those two. I put the sliced lemons in there just for fun, but you don't have to do that. And you can reconstitute it with any kind of liquid. You could do just water, which would be your typical lemonade. Again, this is strawberry lemonade, but we decided to mix it with Sprite. I don't normally buy soda, but I thought it would be really fun just to try it with this and see if the kids like it, that sort of thing. And you could also mix it with ginger ale. You could mix it with a bunch of other different kinds of fun drinks. Sky's the limit, but this was so refreshing for a summer, spring drink just to enjoy as a family. As soon as you open the jar, you smell that strawberry and lemonade concentrate smell, and it just brings back a flood of summer memories when you have picnics and all of those things. It just gave you that major summer vibes and summer feels. It was very refreshing, and we're about to do a taste test. So my little one was the first to try it, and she ended up absolutely loving it. To be fair, all of my kids absolutely loved it. They were fighting over who got to finish it, who got to drink more. They all wanted it. So it's a couple days later. We opened it up. It looked beautiful. It smelled like summertime. I'm really excited to try this. My daughter just tried it and she loved it. So now I'll take the lemon off, but I'm gonna give it a try and see if we like it. Oh, that's really good. Mixed with Sprite. Ooh, and then you can mix it with ginger ale. You could just do water. You could do all kinds of things with this. Ooh, that's really good. Yay! I'll let my kids try it in a little bit too. So we'll see if they like it as well. I kind of already spoiled it, but my kids absolutely loved it. I already mentioned that earlier in the video, but they all tried it. Normally my kids kind of are split down the middle. 2 of them like certain flavors and 2 of them don't. This one in particular, everybody was fighting over. They absolutely loved it. And so I will definitely be making this again. Even better yet, if I can grow my own strawberries, that would be the best and ideal situation because then it would be worth it financially as well. I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for joining me here today at Autumnly at Home. We were able to make some strawberry lemonade concentrate together, and I just am really thankful for each and every one of you. Please like, subscribe, and share down below. And I'm going to put a video right here if you're interested for making strawberry jam. And in the playlist, I will put a food preservation playlist that you are welcome to watch until our next upload. I upload every Friday at 5 o'clock, and I hope to see you guys then.